Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! Oh my God! KO in midair!
Hey, what's up everyone? We're back today with a slight kind of preview video on the new quote unquote German Tier 8 premium tank, which is obviously a light tank. It's the Hawk 30. It's kind of technically been in the game for a little bit with the Aguila reskin of it. Shocker, it's already in the game first, but I wanted to wait till the unskinned variant comes out because, yeah, semi-obvious reasons. But thought I'd give you guys my kind of thoughts on it so far. I only just got it yesterday, but I did play for a couple hours in it, exclusively in this tank. My first game in this tank was actually pretty good. We lost, and I made some dumb plays. It's trying to get used to playing again consistently. But I actually got Westfield North Spawn in my first game in this and did over 5,000 damage. But yeah, I think you guys have seen enough of that map, and especially that variant. So unless it was like a god tier game, I'm not gonna put it up. So it wasn't anything too special. So what do I think of this tank so far? I like it. It reminds me, and it's pretty obvious why, because it's a German light tank, but it's basically a slower, lower tier RU251, which is nothing wrong with that. It's really good, actually. It's got the 90mm. From that, fires slower. Obviously, it's a tier lower. It should fire slower. That would make no sense if it didn't. It has less pen. It only has 182 pen on the APCR only. It's still, it's pretty average. It's above average to an extent compared to some other tanks, especially some of the French and American tier 8 light tanks. So kind of varies, kind of average, but nothing too insane. The heat pen is nice at 250, which is very nice on a light tank. And then of course you have those special HE rounds, or the HEP rounds that come with this gun that come on the Walker Bulldog 90mm, as well as something like the Ramrod, which get 102mm of pen on the HE. Truthfully, I'm not always the biggest fan of them. I was kind of complaining about them last night again because I just never have great luck with them in terms of them penning and doing full damage. This game, I believe they actually do at the end, so you'll see that and what happens when you do pen your shots. Again, they have 320 alpha when that does happen, so it gives you really good DPM. But I just prefer the consistencies of the regular rounds of actually doing damage and penning, rather than just eating tracks. The Cryptix gets nuked by already. But you can kind of play with that a little bit yourself in terms of your ammo loadout. If you want more HEP, I'd totally go for it. But this is what works for me. I may vary it up a little bit. The most I would ever carry is 6. But I was just kind of struggling with penning shots, and I think I carry 6 in the Walker Bulldog, for example, and maybe the RU as well. But just play with it yourself and see what fits. But you see, we're actually going to go up and use them right now. Might as well. Good segue. With the CDC, as well as looking through the Artie, get a little revenge for him just completely crapping on our platoon mate there. And luckily, there we go. There's the Artie. And we're going to aim for above the tracks, and again, above average roll, 320. Which is very nice. And then we get the CDC. But again, hit the tracks, so 80 damage. Not too worried about a CDC hitting me on the move there. Not likely. That tank needs some help, we'll just put it that way, in terms of buffs. But he's now angry and charging right at us. And we pen our second shot. And now we're just going to get out of the way as he barrels towards 4 tanks to my left there. So, nice little result with the HEP pens there. 3 out of 4 is pretty good. That's probably the best I had all night in terms of luck with these rounds. But so just experiment yourself. I can't tell you exactly how to play the tank. I wouldn't recommend any more than 10. That's kind of pushing it in terms of the ammo count, but that's just me. Obviously, equipment-wise, I'm using the standard gun rammer, optics, and vert stats on this as we track and set this poor Tier 7 British Heavy on fire, and retract it again. So right now we're up to, what, 4,200 combined. I'm also running chocolate on this. Again, I don't really care about making silver too much because I have a stockpile of it for days. I think I have like 107 million silver. I don't really need to worry about that. So my main goal is just to make this the best tank as possible. I like my light tanks, we all know this by now, and just try to have the best results that I can have while playing this tank. Which has been pretty good. I think, honestly, I didn't check the stats on it, but I was probably averaging around 2k damage in this thing last night, it seemed like. Or at least it felt like it was. I had very few games where I was doing under 2,000, 2,500 damage or so. Again, it's like a lower tier RU, just slightly worse gun, and it's a little more sluggish as I kind of feel, but it's got the same kind of play style, even in terms of something as simple as like the engine deck. You can't really aim down with the engine deck behind this thing, because it's elevated. You can kind of see that with the profile of the tank if you look at it. But over the sides, it has additional gun depression. As we're finishing this game up, and we're going to finish it off with a little bit of style and get our top gun, and finish off Centurion with a nice little ram, pick up our 6th kill. So finish that game up with just shy of 3,900 damage and 2,600 assists, and then we're going to hop into the next game, which was a little more just damage based and a little more farming, I would say, a little less exciting. Granted, that was kind of a farm too, because that was like six minutes. We did 2,100 base. Got to pump those XP numbers up. Mastery badge should not be 1,500, so I got to pump that up for you guys. And to just kind of set the bar a little higher. I know you appreciate that. Talk a little bit more about the tank. Again, I talked about the gun. It's that standard 90mm. Accuracy was a little disappointing at 0.36, especially at range. I noticed it. Again, obviously light tanks probably shouldn't be sniping too much or too far distance-wise, but it was had a couple shots that were just it just kept missing and missing, even though the tank I was shooting at was completely standing still. So not the best in terms of that category, but also not the worst. Something this tank does for a tier 8 has 410 meters view range, which is very nice, and it helps because this tank has fairly average camo. It's not the worst, it's not the best. It's kind of bulky for a light tank. You can kind of see that it's pretty large. I said it's not the most mobile either. The play style of this, I kind of noticed, is more passive. I wasn't like circling tanks very much, or some of the tanks that I usually would in other light tanks at the LTTP, where I can circle legitimately almost everything and anything. This thing's much more positioning, bushwork, and just maybe like, I don't know, more I know I just said don't snipe in it, but you're not going to want to be flanking a lot of stuff or doing the circle of death, because the turn radius is not that great, at least from what I picked up playing last night. But stuff like this, where you have a hog just meandering through the middle of an open field and just sitting behind a bush, it's very nice. At 240 alpha really does add up, especially at lower tiers. You can 3-shot, I believe, a lot of tier 6s and maybe even a couple of 7s, 7 TDs, or farm a Tog for like 900 damage. But yeah, what else? So the gun depression is really good over the sides. Let's see if I can find what it is. Yeah, just take my word for it. I can't find it right now for some reason on the stats, but you know, oh, there it is. It's 10 degrees over the sides. I'm not a total idiot. But again, over the rear of the tank, it's not as good. Good mobility, acceleration, top speed, stuff like that. But again, it doesn't turn that great, at least from what I was playing it. just felt sluggish. I don't know. But again, I'm used to maybe playing something that's a little more agile in terms of some light tanks, so that can be a thing. Armor-wise, this thing has none whatsoever. Most it has is 25 millimeters, and that's on the hull in the front. Everywhere else is 20 millimeters or even 8 at the rear of this thing. So legitimately, you don't get shot by anything. And I would imagine, I didn't have the experience of this last night, but don't get rammed by anything as well. Not really a great idea. Again, the only reason I ran Centurion into the game, and I went my top gun. I think you saw I probably lost like 500 health doing that. And again, 182 pen, so something like the Gornage, even at this kind of range, I'm just going to load heat because, again, 0.36 accuracy combined with kind of pen on the APCR, I'm going to load the heat. And it should just go right through most of the places on the front of that tank, even the turret, so nice to have that option to kind of offset the bad accuracy, the mediocre accuracy of the gun. It's going to be a little difficult to hit weak spots at that kind of range, so something to keep in mind if you're aiming for a smaller spot. Maybe load the heat, I don't know, it's kind of up to you. I gotta personally myself get better at that in terms of loading ammo situationally. It's something I don't say struggle with, but it's something I can always work on. Whether that's loading the HEP rounds or something like that, it's something I can pen reliably. But yeah, I've been enjoying the tank, and I don't know, I'm not going to recommend, I never recommend buying it right now, because again, it's cheaper to wait until you can buy the tank solely by itself and not packaged with everything else under the sun. You know, there's great boosts. And overall, I give it a solid, like, maybe 8 out of 10 right now. Again, I've only played it one night, one session, but overall was enjoying it pretty well. I had quite a few good games, and very, very few average or bad games in the tank. And if they were bad games, they were either bad maps or getting just completely crapped on by artillery. Because we all know how much fun that is. And yeah, a little bit about the gameplay of it, I guess. Like I said, it's very passive, quote unquote, very passive kind of tank. Kind of knows I'm not being super insane, kind of all over the place with this. Trying to just pick my positions, pick my shots. That shot was iffy, especially with heat loaded. But I don't think 182 pen shooting to an IS-M lower plate is going to pen a lot of time, especially at that weird kind of angle with him moving around a lot. It can, but I'd rather not. So, we're just kind of sticking back, sniping from a little bit of a distance. I know I said don't expect too much of this thing sniping. However, it's a little bit of a funky playstyle to describe. It's kind of second line kind of support light tank. And even with the average camo, you're not going to passive scout very much. And again, with the agility, you're probably not going to active scout as much. So it's kind of in a weird spot. I definitely don't recommend setting this up with like binos and like a camo net or anything like that. I don't do that on any of my tanks or any of my lights, but some people do that on something like the Vanguard, as we are hepping the Shashka to death, and we're gonna potato right here. Oh man, look at that great shot! Just RBRT warrior for the win right there. And there are still some things you can kind of outmaneuver, and that is a lot of times turretless TDs, or not fully traversable turreted TDs like that. So you still have some success against opponents, but just keep in mind something with a little more mobility that you may encounter may be able to just easily track you and shoot you in the side. Again, the side profile of this tank is very large. You can look at it from this angle right here. it's not that hard of a target to hit. It's something I had to get through my mind last night was, yeah, dummy, you're not that small. Yeah, you're in a light tank, but you're not in a Vanguard. People can hit you fairly easily. You're a fairly large target, and you don't have that great of agility. So you have to rely more on maybe your crew skills here. Again, 450 meters, this guy's never going to spot me, even if I had like a 2-bird crew. But, yeah, it's just basically, it's a weird tank, at least from what I'm trying to play, or try to describe. But it seems really good that game in terms of racking up the damage. It's not bad also with the 90 mil for detracking people. It's a large enough round that you can detrack a lot of stuff at tier 8 with one shot, which is nice. It's not something like the T92 American Light, which has that little pea shooter, which is not that great at detracking things. Usually you have to shoot something in the drive wheel maybe twice or 3 times possibly, even if you miss. Versus this, if you hit squarely in the drive wheel, you're usually going to detrack it fairly easily. Or you can even use the HEP rounds to detrack, because HE takes tracks off much easier. But I don't totally recommend that. But if it's a last resort, you can always do that as well. And then you have an easier target to keep tracked. But enjoying it so far. Again, I've only played 1 session in it. It's my overall idea of the tank. It's good. I'm enjoying it. And if it gives you guys a good idea of what the tank's like. And I will catch you next time. See ya.